Good evening, and welcome to this Sunday evening special edition of Up Late with Sion Marshall. It's not often, or we've never done this on a Sunday before, but today is special. It's different. We're trying something new. And so, over the course of the next 2 hours, yes, you heard me right, over the course of the next 2 hours, you will determine whether or not this Sunday afternoon edition is something that could work and maybe we can try going forward. Until then, hey, let's just enjoy this. We haven't had a program for the last 2 weeks, and I'll explain why to you in a bit. But for now, Up Late with Cian Marshall begins right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited because I've never done this before. I'm trying something new. And you're going to tell me how I like it, if you like it at all. It's Sunday, the 11th of August, 2024, and the first in what can be a regular Sunday afternoon edition of Up Late with CL Marshall. Imagine having it on a Thursday evening and on a Sunday afternoon. Hmm, we'll see how that works. If you're joining us on our platforms, well, it's essentially only on our platforms today. Up Late with CL Marshall on YouTube and on Facebook. Good afternoon, good Sunday afternoon, and thank you so much for joining. As always, I am going to give you a few seconds to share the program. So I have my phone in my hand and I'm going to lead by example. I am going to share it. And I'm asking you as well, as one of our regular and loyal customers, I say customers, Lord, loyal viewers, to share it as well. So I'm going to share and I'm asking you to share as well. So let me try that. All right, where are we now? It's see it right there. There you go. Oh yes. So you can do that as well. All right, good. So I just shared the stream, and I'm asking you to share the stream as well. Go on your Facebook page if you're on YouTube, wherever you are, and share the stream. It's a beautiful Sunday evening for me. Today was good temperature and so forth. It's finally beginning to warm up a little bit, and so I really enjoyed today in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm sure you had a nice warm day. If you didn't, you could let me know. But whatever it is your day has been like, I hope you're enjoying it. And thank you so much for spending and deciding to share this afternoon with us. All right. Now, as usual, if you join and you log on and you say hi, I'll recognize you. This evening, as I said, I'm going to try something different. I'm having a Sunday afternoon edition. And, I thought I haven't had a program for the last 2 Thursdays. And you wouldn't even believe me if I told you what happened, especially last Thursday or Thursday gone. And when I thought of having a program this Sunday to make up for the missed programs, I thought maybe I should do a Sunday afternoon 2 hour special. But 2 whole hours, boy. I mean, I know I could talk, and I know I love talk. That's that goes without saying. But I gonna need some talk help. Where can I get some talk help? I know, right? See how much more talk help. Uh, so I decided I need some talk help, and there is only one person in this whole entire world I can count on to talk help me on my show for 2 hours. And I'm sure by now you've guessed it. So let me welcome my good friend, my brother, who's in the studio and waiting for us, who has decided to give me some talk help today on a Sunday, the brother Richard Byron Cox. Richard, good evening.
I had to begin with a laugh, because the talk help part of it, Yeah, well, yeah, good afternoon to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and good evening to people in Europe and wherever else you are in the world. Good night, good morning, wherever you're following this program. As Cian said, we'd be happy if you can share it. Let everybody know we're on. We're going to have a good discussion. It's nice to be here, Cian. You look well. England seem to be treating you well, and I see you have a cup in front of you. It's not transparent, so one would have to guess,
Well,
what you
you could
have
see
in
the
it. But
steam. You could see the
you know,
steam coming from it. I'm sure you could see the steam. So you know
Steam
it's
come
something
from a
steamy.
lot of things, right? But yes, it's great being here this Sunday afternoon. Yes, I know of the difficulties you've had. And that's why we had the absence of the past two programs. As you know, I also had a lot of pressure on me doing certain things. So we both were under the weather of work, if you want to put it that way, right?
Right,
But it's good
right.
to see you back. And let me say three things. One, I think this is a very useful program. Two, I do hope that you will get an optimum amount of followers. And three, I think with time it will grow because 2 hours is good enough time to speak substantively on issues, and
Yes,
issues which
yes.
are of tremendous importance. I just want to say I see Mr. Riggs, Patricia D. Riggs on the line. Good,
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you
good
for
afternoon.
recognizing that because I would have as well once you were finished, but I'm glad you did. So good evening, good
Yes,
afternoon to
good
Patricia.
afternoon. Good afternoon to you. And Patricia would be happy if you share it and tell others we are on. Yes, so back to what I'm saying. And the third thing, it will grow over time. And I think it will be better because you would have a little bit more time to explain to people and to interact with people, and to cover more things. So I think it's a pretty good initiative, and I wish it the best. And I'm happy to share the first one with you.
Well, Richard, the truth is, when it comes to Uplate, you share quite a number of firsts. You were the first guest on the very first edition of Uplate. You were the first guest on the relaunch of Uplate. And now that we're trying something different in a Sunday afternoon program, you're my first. I don't even know if I should call you a guest anymore because you're much a part of Uplate as I am. As we said the other day when we launched, you flew from Germany for this, and I could never forget that, Richard. It was, I mean, you left your home in Germany, you left your work in Germany, you flew to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be a part of a pipe dream I had to launch a program, and I would never forget that. And so, you are more than a guest to Uplate. You are part of Uplate. You are Uplate, and this is our thing. You and those viewers who every Thursday night ensure that they tune in, they log on for the program, and they follow and they encourage. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Richard,
Yes.
we have a lot of things to talk about today. We have a
Yeah.
lot of things to talk about today. But I think first of all, we alluded to it, but I must uh, explain to the viewers and apologize to the viewers for the absence on the last 2 Thursdays. That was due to my really hectic schedule. As a matter of fact, my schedule became so hectic that I did not even know it was Thursday. I thought it was Wednesday, and it was Narissa, one of what my good friend, me in-law, me all of them thing they who messaged me. I was up studying at, I think it would have been like after 3 in the morning, and I got a message from Narissa, and I checked. Narissa messaged me, and she said, "I see you're probably busy studying, boy, because nothing happening tonight." And then was when I remembered and realized, wait, it's Thursday. you know. So it's
Yeah.
been really really hectic. Um, for those of you who do not know, I'm pursuing studies, and I have exams. This is actually the exam period. I had one exam last Monday. I have another exam on Thursday coming, and I have two exams next week. So I'm in the middle of studies. and so the pressure is on. And that was the reason I missed both programs. And so I decided that today on Sunday, what I would do is I would make up, do a makeup program for those that I missed, and hopefully you guys would join and appreciate the fact that we are bringing something to you live on Sunday, and be a part of it. And like Richard said, it's 2 hours, so you have time to log on. You can be a part of it. You can interact. You can message. You can chat and so forth, and we're able to respond to any questions and so forth that you may have. All right, wonderful. Richard, I wanted to start. I wanted to start with this week.
Mhm.
First of all, by wishing the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Gonzalez, a belated happy birthday.
Yes.
He celebrated
Yes.
his birthday this week, I think Thursday this week,
Yes, it was.
and and you know we are happy that he has lived to see another birthday. He's celebrating another birthday, and all of this is happening as he continues to lead St. Vincent and the Grenadines along a path of development. And Richard, even as we wish him happy birthday, I would like to have a discussion comparatively about what is happening with other leaders across the globe who've been leading for a long time, and I want us to shed some focus on what is happening in Bangladesh, for example,
Yeah.
um, and what Dr. Gonzalez has been able to do for St. Vincent and the Grenadines during his tenure over the last 20 plus years
Yeah.
of stewardship and leadership. So, on behalf of all of us here at Playton, from me, Sion Marshall, and I know you would, so I give you a chance to wish him happy birthday yourself, Richard. I don't want to talk for you, but I really am happy and elated to wish Dr. Gonzalez a belated happy birthday and wish him many more birthdays. He is still in his right mind. He still has all of his faculties intact. He's uh, very active and very energetic, and I wish him all the health and all the goodwill going forward as he celebrates more birthday in the future.
Yeah. Um, I join you in wishing Dr. Gonzalez, well, a belated, very, very happy birthday. I know his last daughter is getting married, so he has something to celebrate. Soleil is getting married. And there, before I go on with that, let me just say 2 things. One is that Dr. Gonzalez was born in the month when Black people were liberated from slavery on the 1st of August, 1838, and Dr. Gonzalez is born in that month. 5 days from now is Fidel Castro's birthday. For me, outside of Toussaint Louverture in Haiti, Fidel is the greatest revolutionary the Caribbean has produced, and a man who's contributed much to the liberation of Black people. And so Dr. Gonzalez is within that month as well. I state here on record, and I don't want anybody to agree with me. The facts supports me. Dr. Gonzalez is the greatest political leader that St. Vincent's ever produced. He's a man of tremendous vision. I am not saying that Dr. Gonzalez is perfect from the standpoint that he cannot make mistake. He is a perfect human being, as you are seeing, as I am, because man is only perfect in his imperfection. If man was not imperfect, then he doesn't need God. He doesn't need a savior. You understand? So
Yes.
man is only man because he is imperfect. So man is perfect, man is in his imperfection. And so Dr. Gonzalez is, and continues to be a tremendous, the greatest leader this country, political leader this country has produced. And what he has done, in truth and in fact, is conduct almost a comprehensive social revolution, you understand, using a democratic process. You know, it is very rare in in contemporary politics, in contemporary society, that a political leader conducts a social revolution, the type of which Dr. Gonzalez has conducted or spearheaded in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And whether you take Russia, whether you take the island nation of Singapore or any other nation, the majority of nations that were able to conduct the social revolution did not do it in genuine democracy, most of them. Okay. Barbados is an exception, and so too is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, thanks to Dr. Gonzalez. So he is a tremendous figure and a tremendous visionary and a man who has done more than anyone. I would argue, and the facts would support me, that Dr. Gonzalez's administration of 22, 23 years, going 24, has done more for the development of St. Vincent than all of the governments from 1951, when we got universal adult suffrage, to now. All of them combined. Dr. Gonzalez has done more than all of them. Last thing I want to say is I was talking to a friend today, Ian, and this friend told me that somebody came from abroad, a Vincentian, who had gone away for 50 years. And this is what he comes back and say to my friend at home. Oh, look how they mash up the country. And my friend said, what did you say? And he said, look how they mash up the country. And my friend said he didn't understand what he was talking about. So he said, what are you talking about? So my friend called me and I said, why didn't you ask him? When he left, did we have a huge church that used to hold 3,000 people and now it disappeared? Did we have a subway in St. Vincent, you understand, that used to carry around 1 million people a week and now there's no more the subway? Is it that St. Vincent and the Grenadines had a huge international airport and all of a sudden it has disappeared? Is it that St. Vincent and the Grenadines used to give everybody a scholarship to go abroad and now nobody don't have any scholarship and the country is totally backward? What is it did we destroy over the 50 years that he has not been in the country? You understand? What I'm only using that to say this. Everything I say about Dr. Gonzalez can be backed up by facts. You understand? This man who left the country 50 years ago, when he left, we had something called E.T. Joshua Airport. He comes back now and sees an international airport, but we have mashed up the country.
Well, it was actually Argyle Airport. Sorry, it wasn't even Iti Joshua yet. It was Argyle, because we only named Iti Joshua on the Mitchell recently.
It was Annisvale. Yeah, Annisvale Airport,
Annisvale,
not Argyle.
yeah.
Annisvale, right? And he comes back and he sees an Argyle International Airport and he said, we mash up the country. When he left the country, anytime you went over the river, you drove in a river. And if that river, if rain came, you had to stay on your own side. The country was physically divided. He comes back and tells me that we've mashed up the country. When he left the country 50 years ago, it's one island school we used to give. Now, every year, practically, 300 people leave St. Vincent to go abroad to study all over the world, but we have mashed up the country. You understand what I'm saying? The point I'm trying to make is this. History would prove, facts would prove that Dr. Gonzalez has been the greatest political leader in the history of our country. Under his stewardship, under his leadership, under his premiership, our country has made strides that even I, Richard, knew we could have made, but I didn't believe we would, for the simple reason that I didn't think we would have a political leader, you understand, who would not just have the vision, but the courage, the will, you understand, and the work ethic to get it done. Dr. Gonzalez has it all. So hats off to him. Happy birthday, Mr. Prime Minister. And probably we'll break bread, me, you, and Cian one of these days when we're all home together.
Probably. Now, Richard, you have listed quite a number of accomplishments that we, as a country collectively, we've been able to achieve over the last 22 years, 23 years of stewardship from by Dr. Gonzalez and the ULP. But even before we go there, and as we wish him happy birthday, and I wanted to end on the happy birthday celebratory aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we I think, as you said, to cap it off, we are grateful that he's still here. We are grateful that he has the presence of mind to do what he's doing as leader of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And more than that, his 50 plus years of activism that he brings to bear on leadership is serving St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well.
Yes.
I think if Dr. Gonzalez had not gone through the process that he went through, I'm reminded of, for those individuals who are people of faith, I'm reminded of David.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that David was in the wilderness taking care of sheep, and he had to take sheep out a lamb out the lion mouth and those type of things and so forth. And he was always out there while the other brothers and so on were home. But that was his period of preparation in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that those wilderness years experienced by Dr. Gonzalez are what brings so much to bear on his decision making and on his leadership, so that he
Mm-hmm.
understands where St. Vincent and the Grenadines is. He understands what is required to take us where we need to go. And most importantly, he is prepared to make those tough decisions, even if individuals who are beneficiaries of those decisions are going to criticize him for it and hate him for it, even in their best interest. I also make the comparison of Moses. The Israelites said, "Listen, you take me from Egypt and bring me in the wilderness to suffer. It's better to leave me in Egypt," not recognizing the process, the journey, and what lay ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Moments of uh, moments of struggle and
Mm-hmm.
challenge shook them. And it was the leadership of Moses that was necessary to bring those people through. And so when I look at what the biblical example of Moses, I look at the biblical example of David in the wilderness tending sheep, and how those years were preparation for the task of leadership that they had to perform. I am grateful that one, Dr. Gonzalez experienced what he had, was able to bring it to bear on leadership of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, knowing full well what was required to take us to where we needed to go, and being prepared to do what was necessary.
Um, um, if I just may make an important, well, what I think is an important comment here, and probably I know you want to get away from, well, we want to go on beyond the thing, so we are going on beyond that. But I want to make a particular point, and I want you to just reflect about it and tell me what you think. But before I do that, let us welcome El Carter Huggins. Good evening to you. Welcome, and please share it with others. Let them know we are live. That up late with Cian Marshall. I happen to be up late with him, because it's
Very
after
late.
10 with Cian Marshall. So please share it, and we are happy to have you. Cian, I don't know how much you have paid attention to revolutionary politics in the 20th century and in the 21st century, and therefore follow what has happened to leaders. But if you look at this from Jacob Arbenz, and I could go back before Jacob Arbenz, but from Jacob Arbenz in 1954 in Guatemala, okay, to Salvador Allende in 73 in Chile, okay, to Daniel Ortega, okay, to Maurice Bishop, to Thomas Sankara, and so on. All of these socialist leaders, because Dr. Gonzalez is a socialist, he's a democratic socialist. And
Yes.
all of these socialists, they were either killed, you understand, or their country is destroyed. Take Daniel Ortega, right? He luckily wasn't killed, right? But they destroyed Nicaragua. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso was murdered. Maurice Bishop in Grenada was murdered. And by the way, Cian, I don't know if you know, but there are people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, people in our country, who justified and defended the murder of Maurice Bishop by these people. There are people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines who did that, who justified the murderers and who defended them. You understand what I'm saying? When all the evidence showed that a man was murdered in cold blood. Now, what I'm trying to say here, let's get back to what I want to tell you, is that even Hugo Chavez, we're not sure how he died, We're not really sure. You understand what I'm saying? What really killed Hugo Chavez? We're not really sure. And you named them. So it's only one man who survived, right? In all of this socialist revolution is a man named Fidel Castro. But the CIA confessed that they tried to kill him at least 600 times. But he survived, right? And Dr. Gonzalez is the only one who did three things. He survived. Thank God they haven't killed him, right? That's one. Two, he conducted the revolution. We have it in St. Vincent. And three, he did it through a democratic process. This is an amazing genius. Don't fool yourself about this man. Don't fool yourself about who Dr. Gonzalez is. As you know, I'm a very straightforward person. And when I think he's wrong on a particular policy, I'll say so. I've never
Well,
hidden
I
that.
was going to come to that. I was going to come to that because
I will say so. But truth is truth, and one must accept the truth. And this is the genius of this man. You understand? As you know, CN, because you were his press secretary, he even beat, they sent all kind of people from SCL and from wherever else to come home to St. Vincent, and he beat them. This man is a true genius in politics and a true visionary and a true leader.
Where I want to go, Richard, where I want to go is this. Because having just said what you said, I didn't say it. I didn't prompt you to say it. And if anybody knows Richard Byron Cox, nobody tells Richard what to say. You've been criticized all around as someone who all of a sudden you're praising Ralph, but people would dig up articles and so forth that you've written before criticizing. So we go back to what you've just said and how you've just said it and how you just packaged it. How do you juxtapose, on the one hand, what individuals would dig up in articles, what you've written and said previously, to what you've just said and said repeatedly, because you've called Star Radio when I was there as a host and said quite complimentary and flowery things. You've visited Dr. Gonzalez, you've gone to his office and so forth, you spoke to him quite complimentary. How do you juxtapose the two? Can the two live in the same being?
Well, there's a false dichotomy here. The dichotomy that they create is a false one. The fact of the matter is that I'm truthful. You understand? And when I think he's in error on a policy, I'd say so. And when I think he's done right on a policy, I'd say so. Now, they don't have to dig up anything. About 3 months ago, probably less than that, I wrote something called Our Deaf and Blind Government. And you know this, where I bitterly criticized the government as regards how we are dealing with crime. And you remember it yourself. And I think you did call me or we did speak about it sometime, right? So they don't have to dig up anything. This is a false dichotomy they're creating. It's a false dichotomy, okay? What is central to me is the truth. That is what is central to me as regards my pronouncement about Dr. Gonzalez or about you, about anyone else. Outside of that, what is central to me, second, after the truth, is what is best for the country. Now, Sian, I think you would agree with me that there's a difference between good governance, exceptional governance, and perfect governance. The latter does not exist. You understand? The science that governs that, nobody has been able to comprehend it yet. Probably it doesn't exist in the first place. Okay? So perfect governance, as far as we know, does not exist. But good governance, excellent governance, has been demonstrated by Dr. Gonzalez. There is no if and buts about that. Absolutely none. Now, does that equate itself? You look, CN, you and I have gone to universities, right? And we have done good papers, very good papers. Sometimes we get an A. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes we get an A plus. You understand what I'm saying? But are we absolutely perfect and know absolutely everything? I doubt this, CN. So this dichotomy that they create, that on one hand, Byron Cox is this, and on the other hand, Byron Cox, is absolute nonsense. It's a false dichotomy. I speak the truth. And when I think a policy is not the right one, for example, as you know, and I think anyone, Dr. Gonzalez himself would agree with me, I think, that we need to do much more as regards crime. We cannot allow this to continue. I think he would agree with me, whether he likes it or not. The objective reality shows, you understand what I'm saying, that St. Vincent's murder count puts us per 100,000 in the top 3 in the whole world. We cannot accept this. So what am I supposed to do? Say, oh, hallelujah, Dr. Gonzalez is doing such a wonderful job on crime. But then the statistics doesn't support me, do they? They don't. They don't. So this is a false dichotomy. But what we have to understand, CN, is this. that there are people, and if I miss Ian, because we said we will do that. Miss Narissa Fergus has joined us. Good afternoon.
You keep making up all my guests because I get no chance. But yes, there is a good evening and thank you so much for
And
joining.
we know you're going to share
And
it.
also, yes, we encourage everybody who's on to share. And listen, if you've logged on, say hello so we can acknowledge that you're on as well.
Yes, right. And by the way, I'm saying hello. She didn't say hello to me. No. It's only you. She said hi to her.
Of
I
course,
just
of
want.
course. I'm the only person that matter. You just need to understand that. You just need to understand that.
So let me just say one little thing to you, Sia. And I think you would recall that a man sang a song once, and he said, "Rum cheaper than woman," right? And somebody
Yes.
got on that man's case, right? That man didn't ask you to defend him, but you got up and you said, "Listen, the man is saying nothing bad about women. Now. The man just saying, instead of beating up women and all them kind of things, don't get involved in that. Go drink a rum to yourself. It's cheaper so for you. You go get locked up, nothing gonna happen to you." But this fella failed to see what the guy was singing about. The guy wasn't singing anything against women. And I remember I felt so compelled, you understand what I'm saying, to defend him as well. I joined you. I don't know if you recall this,
Yes, I
but
remember
this
that. I
happened,
remember that.
right? This happened. And the thing was, again, if false dictatorial is being said about the man and about saying and about myself. You all ain't like woman, you understand? And this and that and the other. And so it's either you like woman and you hate the song, you understand what I'm saying? Or you like the
Yeah,
song and
yeah,
hate
yeah,
woman, which
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
absolute nonsense. Sarah is your daughter, you don't love her? I have 3 of them. They're my golden girls, for God's sake. You understand? So this false dictatorial that they always bring about, talking absolute rubbish and foolishness. I think I think that answers that question.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You know, this. Well, I know the pronunciation, but I think I know the word is dichotomy. But you the
Yeah,
dichotomy. We never heard that
yeah.
word yet. We
You
know
call it what they
dichotomy,
want,
right?
but you know what I
Right.
meant, right?
Um,
Make it
um,
spell it, please, right?
and so
Make it
you're
spell
absolutely
it.
right. This dichotomy that if you like the song from Chiwali, which is a sweet, beautiful
Yeah.
song,
Then you hate
it means
woman.
you're
You understand
anti-woman
what I'm saying?
and you
And it's
degrade woman.
absolutely false.
And
It
so
is
if
absolutely
you if you
false.
appreciate women and you're pro women, then you must condemn Chiwali's song. And it wasn't that it really wasn't like that at all. And so I understand what you're saying in that one has to be able to be consistent and be principled. And consistency doesn't mean, and I think this is where a lot of individuals make get it wrong. Shane Daniel, if it's the same Shane Daniel, this is a young man who I went to Teachers College with. We went to St. Martin's together, and we went to Teachers College together. And as a matter of fact, I remember Shane. If it's the Shane, if it's you, make sure you let me know it's you. He would lend me his car. Them time I had my little girlfriend in college and think Shane gonna lend me car. I go run away and so on and so on. So Shane, if it's you, uh, um, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. And listen, hit me up, hit me up, please. Hit me up on Facebook because yes, just hit me up if it is your talk, right? Um, so this whole thing where people think that to be consistent means that you have to consistently criticize or consistently praise, as opposed to be consistent in principle, so that when something is wrong, you are principled enough to recognize and say it's wrong, and when it is right, you're principled enough. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. Well, hit me up on Facebook, please. Shane Daniel. That's my boy. We go back way, way, way back. And I don't know if you remember, he used to let me a little Mitsubishi Lancer and so on. But then, that's another story, right? So,
And we don't want to hear the
excuse me.
sordid details. What
So,
happened?
so, so I appreciate that, Richard, and you keep being principles now. Mind you, I get a lot of licks for the closeness that the perception that we have, and even though there's a perception of how close we are, people still do not understand how close we really are. Because I am very much pro ULP. I was the press secretary to the prime minister, but I'm also your brother, and I'm able to be your brother and be pro ULP and pro Ralph Gonzalez and be his press secretary at the same time without engaging in the false dichotomy that people try to create, that if I'm Richard Friend, then I can't be pro ULP and support Dr. Gonzalez as a press secretary because I'm your friend. That is something that, has been raised many, many times. And of course I ignore that because I know who I am, I know what I'm about, and so that's all that matters. Now, we've talked a lot about that, Richard. And Kojo, good evening, buddy. Well, boy, your senator, former AG and so on, look like she going win the White House, and that's surprising. We talk about that, Richard, that a white woman couldn't win the White House, but it looks like a black woman is going to be the first woman to do so. That's something I don't expect from the US. I'll be honest with you. And even now, as there is a wave of excitement and momentum for Kamala Harris, I still don't expect her to win because she's not just a woman; she's a black woman. But we could see other because when we talk about the riots in the UK, when we talk about Bangladesh, and we go to Bangladesh now. Now, one of the things about the riots in Bangladesh, which stands out to me, is that the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, has been the Prime Minister for about 18 years.
Yeah, almost 20.
Almost 20 years. And longevity of leadership comes into question. Individuals who are against unlimited terms,
yes,
would say, see what I'm talking about? This is what happens when somebody's there for 20 years. And unfortunately, Sheikh Hasina is used as the example or as the focal point as to why term limits must be impacted. The fact that after 4 years, the former president of the US caused an insurrection and almost had a coup in the US is not used as a talking point as to why term limits don't work, because people want to hold on to power, But here we have, and you mentioned it earlier, Dr. Gonzalez, who has been leader of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for 23 years plus, and has created a democratic social revolution or social revolution using the democratic process. We've had democratic elections that have been certified locally, regionally, and hemispherically by all observers,
and internationally
by all observers saying the elections were free and fair. Of course, there were irregularities, but nothing that amounts to
that would have changed the results of the
elections. Right. So we have that. But if you go to a place like Bangladesh, for example, where Sheikh Hasina just recently was returned to government, you have a situation where the opposition didn't take part. You hear them talking about vote rigging and so forth, and the corruption, stealing the elections. How do you see that being made possible? Because from all of the examples you look around where there aren't term limits and people become prime ministers and presidents for forever, like Mugabe and so on, there becomes a point when things just go downhill. There's wanton corruption. It's like in economics, you talk about the diminishing return. You peak, and all of a sudden things go down, and things start going sour. But after 23 years in office, it appears as if St. Vincent is still on an upward trajectory. So from 2001, we've been on an upward trajectory, and we've not yet plateaued to start dipping. How is that? How do you think that has been made possible?
Well, firstly, you said the key thing. Well, one of the key things, because I think there are 4 key things, and I list them. But I think you said the first key thing. The first key thing is this, that our process is truly a democratic process, which nobody, even the US or whomever else doesn't like Dr. Gonzalez, can't question. You understand what I'm saying? It is a virtually, as I said before, using the word perfection is not the right word, but is as good as it possibly can be on a first past the post system. Okay, so that's the first thing we have to understand. I think you and I know very well that the Prime Minister of Bangladesh was held up and holed up and whatever else by Mr. Modi in India. Everybody knows this. This is no secret. You understand? And it's everybody who's anybody questioned the elections there. Second, so that's the first thing. Ours is a democratic polity, a truly democratic polity. You understand? In our country, we have at least what, about 9 radio stations. Half of them, or probably more, are against Dr. Gonzalez.
Absolutely
You
more.
understand what I'm saying? And they're allowed to operate freely and to do whatever they want. We have, well, you know how many blogs we have, or online newspapers, if you want to call them that. You understand? And some of them specialize in tearing down and pulling down Dr. Gonzalez. This we know, And outside of that, you have an opposition in the country, and they themselves are forced by the mere fact of truth and evidence to accept the results of the elections. So the point is, Dr. Gonzalez is in power because the people want that. That's the first thing. First. Second thing, and this is what is important here. You see, in the case of Bangladesh and others, what had happened, and even Zimbabwe, you understand, is that conditions got worse and worse for the people. You understand what I'm saying? Over time, it just keeps getting worse. Now, let's look at Dr. Gonzalez and the ULP. What happens? Partner started out, he must get 10 scholarship the first year, he might get 8 or whatever. Right now, we're up to 300 something. You understand what I'm saying? Right? He's building an acute care hospital, right? ACH at Annesville. Okay? This man has fought 10 major disasters in the period of 23 years. 10 major disasters. You understand? And done them well. Okay? Outside of that, we mentioned the social revolution. Remember, we mentioned that Dr. Gonzalez has created a social revolution in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What does a social revolution do? It delivers first and foremost for those who need the most, for those who are in greatest need. That is what a social revolution does. And that is what he has done. You understand? So the point I'm making is that over those 23 years, what we have seen is that the government is delivering more and more for the people. He's always thinking about that. Okay? That's number 2. Number 3, overall, generally speaking, from infrastructure, whether it's health and education, to roads, okay, and to airport, the government has delivered those things that the people need. Okay? One of those things, as you know, is the international airport. We mentioned that. So, and then the private sector really and truly has nothing to complain about. Dr. Gonzalez has reduced, which is something I'm totally against. He has reduced corporate tax to 28%. That is socialism for the rich. It's a truly socialist revolution the country has. He's even done socialism for the rich. You understand? They have never had it so good. They have never had it so good. So that's number 3. I said there are 4 things. There are actually 6, but I'll only give 4. And the 4th is this. This is the test of it all. Dr. Gonzalez is truly loved by the majority of people in our country. Not everybody. There are those who bitterly hate him. You understand what I'm saying? But Dr. Gonzalez is so loved. The man himself is loved. Don't fool yourself about that, Comrade, people love comrade. People love this man. You understand? And those 4 elements that I have just named, okay? The democracy, 1, okay? The social revolution, delivering. I mean, look what Dr. Gonzalez has done as regards even people who didn't contribute anything to the NIS. They get a non-contributory pension. They get it. You understand what I'm saying? What we used to call poor relief. When Dr. Gonzalez came into power, it was $60. How much is it now? 200 and what? Almost 300, right?
It's about $300 now. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Right? That is what Dr. Gonzalez has done. He has delivered this social revolution. Then the infrastructure in the country, which had suffered so badly. I mean, James Mitchell took our public library and give it to his French friends and had our children in a cubby hole down at Bottom Towns. You understand what I'm saying? And this man revolutionized. We are building a port as you and I speak tonight. A major brand new port. You look. Sandals Best Hotel in the whole chain is located where?
In St.
In St. Vincent and the
But
Grenadines.
Richard, no, I want.
They love him. So those 4 things, there are 6 of them, but those are the 4 major ones.
No, I have colleagues from Bangladesh, and they can or they've put forward similar arguments to me, things like international airport, the increase in the GDP of Bangladesh and so forth, to the point where now Bangladesh is growing faster than India.
Yes.
They would tell you, if you look at the stewardship of Sheikh Hasina, all of those things have happened under her
Yes.
under her stewardship. Education has improved, infrastructure has improved, airports has improved, uh, economic growth has improved significantly. So if that is the case, where those things have improved, why then is there such negative sentiment towards her? Now, when you were starting, you mentioned countries like Singapore and so forth, and and
Yes.
and when you said Singapore, the phrase benevolent dictator came to
Yes.
mind.
Man, of
Uh,
course, because that is what he was.
so is it that some of those, you sometimes hear about the Asian tigers,
Yes.
Singapore and so
Yeah.
forth,
Yes.
and you see the type of leadership. Is it
Yeah.
is it that certain cultures are more open to allowing benevolent dictators to whip them into shape and be subservient to those type of leadership than we are in the West?
No. You see, there are two things here which I mentioned and which you have given me a chance to reinforce. The first is this, that with all of what happened in Bangladesh, this and that and so on, the majority of the poor remain desperately poor. There are factories that catch a fire where people work for $50 a month. You understand what I'm saying? They can't go home. They sleep there. And when they catch a fire, people die in them. You understand? So no social revolution has taken place in Bangladesh. Yes, some infrastructure has changed and so on. A social revolution which delivers for those greatest in need has not happened in Bangladesh. That's the first thing. That's the first fundamental difference. The second fundamental difference is what you and I talk about. Our social revolution is conducted within the framework of democracy. You understand what I'm saying? Genuine democracy. This is not the case in Bangladesh. This is not the case in Bangladesh. So those are two fundamental differences between you and I know. Let me tell you, I don't know if you know this, but I suppose you do know. After Pinochet overthrew Salvador Allende, okay, in 1973 in Chile, it was 9/11 actually, you know. Yes, it was September the 11th of September, 1973, when the CIA overthrew Salvador Allende. And then they brought in these neoliberal economists. You know what they call them? The Chicago Boys. You could look it up, the Chicago Boys of Chile. And so they revolutionized the economy. They sold off everything. And Chile grew like mad. But guess what? Guess what? The poor remain poor. The life of the poor people in Chile did not change. I studied in Chile, as you know. You understand? Did not change. You see? And that is the case with Bangladesh. That is not the case with St. Vincent and the Grenadines at all. You understand? That is not the case with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Your daughter is in, as far as I know, Taipei, well, Taiwan studying right now. This is a direct result of the education policy, you understand, of Ralph Gonzalez. This we know for a fact. You know, you mentioned something a few years ago, Cian. Let me tell you what you mentioned. You said this. When I was a little boy, you know, and I went to the hospital, it's some Indian doctor I used to see down there, you know. He says, nobody look like me, no black people. Check the hospitals now. Check the hospitals now. They are all who? Vincentians. The social revolution has delivered for the people of the country. It has done so. Listen to me, and you know this very well. You know it better than me. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has a housing revolution that has delivered about 1,200, 1,300 houses. You understand? To poor and lower middle class people. Those are facts, you know. Those are facts we cannot change. So those are two fundamental differences. The third fundamental difference is that, I'm sorry to tell you, but the Prime Minister of Bangladesh wasn't very loved. You understand? Ralph Gonsalves
Mm.
is very, very, very loved, right? There are other factors which are important here. Okay. Now, when you look at a country like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, change within the country politically, while a leader might remain there. Look at the ULP and look how it has changed over the years. When it started out, there was no Camilo Gonzalez, right? Who's now what? The Minister of Finance.
Yes,
There was no Soboto Caesar. There was no Curtis King. There was no Jimmy Prince. Isn't that true?
that is correct.
You understand what I'm saying? So there was a process of constant internal change within the ULP. When new ideas came, young blood came, you understand? Under the visionary leadership of the great Dr. Gonzalez. So there are many things that we need to consider here, not just one or two, but many, many things. But the situation, the idea that, of course, there are people, I do agree with you that there are cases where people's culture, people are a little bit more docile than other people. You understand what I'm saying? They're conscious like that. But this is not really the first and foremost thing. I think those things that I spoke about, delivering for the poor, you understand? Because there's one thing I know, I'm absolutely certain about this. When there is no justice, peace will run out of gas. Where there is no justice, peace will run out of gas. I'm absolutely certain about that. History has proven that time and time again. Where there is injustice, peace is always threatened. And Bangladesh prove it. You see? The grave industry. And, a lot of shirts and so on. Well, I make sure that I look carefully when I buy my shirts. But a lot of these expensive things that you buy in the West here, they're made there in Bangladesh, where people
Yes, absolutely.
slaved, you understand, for $50 a month. And one of those shirts can cost $500, but they're slaving for $50 a month. You understand what I'm saying? So with all of the infrastructural changes that might have taken place in Bangladesh over those almost 20 years, nothing was delivered to the poor. Let me tell you this one last thing, and you know this better than me. One of the things that Gonzalez did, and I heard you say it time and time and time again. I heard you say it so many times. There were teachers and so on who taught for many years, and it's the children you start to come and be able to buy a house or something, you understand? Or pay off for the house Gonzalez say, you know what? Once you're working with the government at this thing, you understand? You get 100% mortgage, you go build a house. 100% mortgage, brother. 100%. You hear me? Nobody even throw government like that out of power so easily, brother. That ain't gonna happen.
Well, and we are banking on that. We are banking on the good sense of Vincentians to recognize what the government has done and continues to do for all of us, and hopefully they will appreciate that even if the perfection they seek isn't forthcoming, the appreciation would be that there's enough good and in other cases excellence that would justify the continued governance by the existing government. Now, even so, Richard, even so, St. Vincent and the Grenadines had its challenges,
Of
and we
course.
continue to have our challenges.
Of course.
You look at something that you mentioned, the disasters that we've had to overcome over the last 20 something years. Many. And in every instance, Dr. Gonzalez and the government have been there to pick up the
Yes,
pieces. We've
exactly.
just had a more recent one, this time concentrated in the Grenadines. And it looks like it's going to be massive. I know we had let me say shout out my cousin Tika. Tika, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Good afternoon. I appreciate you always. This is even worse, it appears, than the 2013 floods. And the 2013 floods destroyed in 6
Yeah.
hours 17, 18% of our GDP.
This is
because
worse. This has to spread about 40% probably.
Infrastructurally, it just mash up
Yeah.
a lot of the infrastructure, bridges, roads, and so forth. Going forward, with the level of capital expenditure already projected in terms of the Acute Referral Hospital and so forth, how practical do you see it being for Vincentians, especially those who were affected by the disasters, to be dependent on government to make them whole again?
Well, you see,
and you talk about the social revolution,
yes,
and impact left to the poor. So
yes.
it's in that context I'm asking that question.
Yes, you see, Dr. Gonzalez has always made it clear, and I come back to him. And yes, good night, Miss Josette Sergeant Brown. Sergeant Brown. I noticed nobody's saying good night to me. I don't know what I did them seeing, but anyway, that is life.
Boss, you left me cousin, no man. Left me cousin. Let you break up your cousin.
That right. Is life, right? Anyway, Dr. Gonzalez has always said that this is a labor government, and labor is always about what? The poor and the working people. That is what labor is always about. Okay. And so therefore, whenever there is a need among the poor and the working people, his attention is immediately, attuned to that, focus on that. Now, the thing about this, and it frightens me sometimes with Dr. Gonzalez, is that he never says it cannot be done. So he has this philosophy in his head that, well, he used it as regards the airport. You know what he said? We will build it by what? The coalition of
the willing.
The willing. So he always has that. And I sometimes wonder if he thinks he's a magic man, that he can make this thing happen. But the truth of the matter is this, and this is something that we must understand. Again, if you remember, I said that the Prime Minister in Bangladesh was propped up by Mr. Modi. Everybody knows that in India. You understand? Dr. Gonzalez is a master in terms of his international relations, in terms of his foreign policy. He's always said that foreign policy, well, and you quote one of my creations where I had learned after studying diplomacy and so on, it came to me that foreign policy is not some sort of embroidery on the tablecloth of governance. Absolutely. And I remember the first time I said that hit you like a bombshell,
Yeah, of course,
right?
Of course.
Right? And Dr. Gonzalez truly understands that foreign policy is not some sort of piece of embroidery on the tablecloth of governance to decorate it. No, it is an instrument that you must use for development. And I think that is where we can count on him. And I think that is why it is realistic to believe, you understand, that he will deliver it. Because why? He has done it time and time again. This man has not failed in 10 major disasters. Before Beryl, he has not failed once. Let me remind you of something, Cian, which you know very well, probably better than me. My friend, and he became your friend before he died, Mr. Parnell Campbell, QC. Now, let us, before I say what I'm going to say about QC Parnell Campbell, who was a big brother to me, a man I truly admire, we must remember that Parnell Campbell was the key strategist of the NDP. The key strategist of the NDP. 1. 2, we must remember that Parnell Campbell was the deputy prime minister. You understand, under James Mitchell. 3, we must remember that Parnell Campbell was their longest serving attorney general. Okay? So these are 3 major things that we must understand about Parnell Campbell. Okay? And he was a powerful man within the party. You know what Parnell Campbell once said? After we were facing a disaster, he said, I could sleep well, knowing what? That Dr. Gonzalez is in charge. Yeah. Yep. Remember, remember the things I just said. Let me repeat them. 1, Parnell Campbell was an NDP, but he wasn't an ordinary NDP. He was not an ordinary NDP. Parnell Campbell was the key strategist of the NDP. Parnell Campbell was the deputy prime minister of the NDP. And Parnell Campbell was his greatest legal scholar. He was the attorney general. You understand what I'm saying? It's a man who, if you cut him, NDP would have poured over him. in deep red blood. You understand what I'm telling
Yes.
you?
Yes. Yes.
This is an NDP true and true. And when the country faced a major disaster, you know what Panel Campbell said? He said, I would sleep quietly tonight. I would go home and sleep quietly tonight, knowing that Ralph Gonsalves is in charge. You know that is a loaded statement, right? You
Of
understood?
course. Of
He
course.
was saying,
Of
thank,
course.
thank God my own is not in charge. That's the first thing he was saying. Thank
Yes.
God my own, the NDP, my own, is not in charge. That's the first thing he was saying. But the second thing he was saying is this: I have absolute confidence in what? That Ralph will do what? Will fix it. He will deliver. That's the second thing that Panel Campbell was saying. The third thing that Panel Campbell was saying is this: that this is a man for these times. There's nobody else like him. For these times, Ralph Gonsalves is the man for these times. That is what Panel Campbell was saying. But listen. I want to remind people, when COVID hit hard and started turning over the place, it did not take PR now, It's Mitchell who said, we did well. We handled COVID-19 well. It's Mitchell who said it. It's Mitchell who said it. Not Panel now. Mitchell, the head honcho, said it. So, yes, the question is well placed. With that kind of serious damage that we have faced, the estimate is $700 million. Whether or not it is reasonable, it is logical, it is sensible, and it is practical for people to think that Ralph will get it fixed, that they could depend on the government to support them. Oh, yes. Yes, the history proves that. Understand? But even those who oppose him say so. But more than that, we don't have to deal with the words. We have to look at the actions. What does the action tell us? I listened to the Prime Minister on the radio this morning. I don't know if you listened to him, but I listened to the Prime Minister on the radio this morning on WFM. You understand? And the Prime Minister was concretely telling you, this is what we're doing, how much we're doing. A matter of fact, the Prime Minister started to beg people, are begging contractors, are begging everybody. We need the workers. We're paying you this amount of money. We're putting your pay. We're doing this and we're doing that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not just looking at what he says. That doesn't matter. But it's what he does. And so therefore, the people's faith in him to fix this, as you have asked, is justified. It is well placed.
All right. Now we've come to the end of the first hour of the program. And so far, it's been a good discussion. Hey, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, and we would definitely uh, um, answer those questions. Benson Jasper, and I know who Benson Jasper is, my good friend. Good evening to you, and thank you so much. Good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining. Um, and all those who are on, again, if you're on and you're watching, please share it so that others can be a part of the program as well, and enjoy the Sunday afternoon discussion that we have. Richard T. Capitio, she say good evening. Right, and she love you always. So there's a pity hello. There's a pity
I
hello.
beg for it. I beg for it. But you didn't have to insult me. So you didn't have to. You didn't have to do that.
Uh,
You use
so
partner, boss.
Benson,
You
my
shouldn't do that.
brother,
You shouldn't do me that.
my brother Benson Fellows, good afternoon to you as well, and thank you so much for being a part of the program. So, as I said, we've just completed the first hour of the program, and I have something special coming up as we shift into the second hour of the program. Remember, I said and advertised that this afternoon is going to be a 2-hour program. All right, so I'm in the process of putting something together. Give me 2 seconds, Jay, but I'm working on it. Boss, as a day here, you don't know that kind of thing I'm doing. Oh my lord, what's going on here now? Don't tell me I didn't do the thing.
Oh,
What's
Lord,
going on
Lord.
here? Okay. Yes. All right. I have it coming up here, man. You know how it goes, me already.
Now, in the
Right.
meantime, he's starting that out. I just want to ask
Yes, please,
everybody
you do that.
on the line to share, please share and let everybody know we're here. Okay, we have an interesting discussion. Just that's it. Let us encourage people to let everybody know. Tell them we are on, and it's an interesting discussion.
All right. So we are at the top of the hour, and I'm just getting this done here. 1 second. Where is it? Um, okay. Now, okay, Lord have mercy. It's how me trying to multitask. Now, Richard
Yes,
and
I'm here.
viewers, this week was a moment of real pride for St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Hmm.
And I really saw a nation coming together
Yes,
in support of its own.
yes,
And I guess based on what my finger missing up and so on, you see what I'm talking about. This
yes.
week, our very own Shafika Maloney participated in the women's 800 meters at the Paris Olympics 2024.
Hmm.
Shafika went into the Olympics ranked number 27th in the world. Number 27th in the world. Now, I want to show that moment where she, the first Vincentian woman, and I think the first woman from the English speaking Caribbean to reach the final of the 800-meter event. And I want us to, for those of you who missed it, take a look at this history making moment that occurred on Wednesday when Shafika took part in that event.
It's one of the
And that was the final of the women's 800-meter. And you see coming in fourth was St. Vincent and the Grenadines' very own Miss Shafika Maloney. Congratulations to Shafika. She did really well. Now, I mentioned that she came into the race, to the Olympics, ranked number 27th,
Yes.
and she came fourth in the race. Now, there's something very interesting about that ranking as opposed to other rankings.
Hmm.
When you look at football rankings, for example, and I'm using football as one of the more popular sports in the world, the
It is
team
the most
that is
popular sport
ranked,
in the world, I think.
the team that is ranked, well, I ain't sure about that because with 1 billion people in India and India is cricket, you might just find that India alone are the most popular. Cricket is the most popular just because of India alone, but that's another story. You know, the team that is ranked number one in the world may not necessarily have beaten or could beat a number of other teams.
Mm.
Because when you look, for example, at the World Cup, the team that wins the World Cup, and because of the World Cup and so on, gets
Yeah.
bumped up in rank, may have lost in the group stage,
Mm.
may have drawn in the group stage.
Mm.
And so a team that beat them that beat Argentina in the group stage, you say, but how them is number one when we beat them?
Yeah.
In this case, Shafika has beaten everybody and has better times than everybody who's behind her. Because going into the Olympics, France and others were ranked ahead of her. She ran with them and she defeated them in the same race.
Mm.
So coming forth in the Olympics, we can easily say that Shafika is the number 4 in the world. And that was a moment of pride for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That was a moment of coming together for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I noticed that one or two people try to make things political and bring in their usual divisiveness. But
Yeah.
thankfully, the country coalesced around this phenomenal young lady and really showed her this kind of support. Look,
Yeah.
I saw what happened in Heritage Square, Richard. And I'll tell you this.
Yes.
I looked at what St. Lucia had put big screen TV and so on in location for Julian running the 100. And even though Julian was a favorite, and for people who don't follow track and field, Julian winning the 100 came as a surprise to them.
Yeah,
But Julian, over 2 years ago, was a favorite. That is why
Yes.
St. Lucia invested in her, because the government
Yes.
said, we have a realistic chance of medaling,
Of
and not
winning
just
this thing,
medaling, but
yeah.
winning the gold
Yeah.
medal. So that's why the government invested in her.
Yeah.
They invested in somebody who is top 3. We invested in
Yes.
somebody who's top 27.
Yeah.
But even though in St. Lucia, it was expected that she'd do well, what the crowd that I saw for her 100 was nothing close to what was in Heritage Square for Shafiqah.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the greatest thing that happened is that this young woman united the country, the whole country, well, 99.99% of the country. And it's the first time I saw it in more than a generation, I must say. I'll come back to that because I think she should be given her flowers before I go to that. The fact remains this, that, and I want to use Usain Bolt's words. He said, you know, me being the fastest man in the world, you know, this ain't no team thing, like, and this ain't no football thing where you could guess, well, Ronaldo is this and this is that and so on and so on. Right? All of we run and I win. I am the fastest man in the world. Argument done. That's what he said enough. Argument done. All of we run and I win. I the fastest man in the world. Argument done. That's what Usain Bolt said. And so same thing, argument done. All of them run, you understand? She started 27th, she ended up 4th. She beat them. Story done. You know, but what it shows is a measure of focus and commitment, you know, to do something special. And that, I'm a very emotional man. And so things like that hits me really hard, brings me to tears. I really must say that because I know my own life and I know what it took to make me who I am and the price I paid for that. And I would not want anybody to pay that kind of price, you know? So when I see things like that, it gets to me. It makes me very, very emotional, I must say. Very, because regardless of what you think or don't think, to come from a 2x4 place like St. Vincent and from the condition which you come, you understand, to go on the world stage and do what that young woman did is a remarkable feat by any stretch of the imagination. It is a remarkable feat, and one must not take that away from her. One must not take that away from her. It is Absolutely. A remarkable Absolutely. Feat. You understand? And so therefore, hats off to her. I'm very, very proud. But more than anything else, she did something that not Ralph, not you, not me, not Kato. You understand what I'm saying? She did something with that feat that no other Vincentian has done in more than a generation. She united the entire country behind one purpose. That young woman, that for me is the other remarkable achievement. You yourself said you saw it in Heritage Square. I am telling you, 2.5 hours before the thing start, I check Heritage Square because they don't have thing, you know, showing and so on. We say, well, boy, you know, only as we would say in the vernacular, 2 grade of people, me see there, you know, 2 grade of people. Partner, half an hour before Heritage Square pack, and I remember you and I say, we're going on
Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You know? Before I start,
and we say this is what me and you, we see this is a carnival going on here. You understand? The place pack, you know, and she united St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As you said, there are a few non-entities, and you can tell them I call them that. Non-entities, you understand? You can tell them I call them that, you know? A few non-entities who then try to throw a monkey wrench in the works. You understand? Instead of coming together, instead of being part of this glorious moment that this young woman has offered this country, you understand? They gone in the madness and craziness. So for me, this was a moment in history that you and I had the chance to live, to feel, to see, and now to share, you know? And believe you me, she's an inspiration in two ways as regards our country. What can be achieved once you put your mind to it individually, and what we can achieve together if we come together. Because irrespective of what we think or don't think, the government contributed, the private sector contributed, and each Vincentian contributed with his heart and his soul.
Of
You
course,
understand what
of
I'm
course,
saying?
of
Every
course.
one of us who shared a single word of encouragement to that young woman. Every one of us who said, "Go, we're behind you, we're here," and she ran her heart out for us. So this is a tremendous moment and a tremendous inspiration. That is,
You know, I followed her through the preliminary stages, and I spoke with you and others, and I said, look, statistically, she'd come forth
yes,
because the times were clear. I said it would take something phenomenal for her to win. And I'm not saying that she couldn't, because Richard, and I'll say this to the audience right now. I put my money where my mouth is. I bet a little
but
10 pounds
but,
Pan
but
Shafika
I
to
was
win
going
it.
to tell them because I know you.
Right.
I know
So
your
I
A1
put
Miss
my money.
Marshall know that you just gamble.
No, I didn't want you know. I don't want you know. And hopefully she ain't watching, so she don't know.
I know your A1 Miss
Hold
Marshall
on.
know you just gamble, and I
But
was going to
I
tell them
put
if you didn't say it.
I put 10 pounds Pan Shafika. No, I like 50 pounds. Pan Shafika to win the gold medal. I did. But that was me being hopeful and really wishing her well. But think about it. Every race she ran before the final, she broke a record. She established a personal best. And so to run 1:57:59, which is a new record that's on the second attempt on a personal best, she had to beat that. And the Brit who came first was running 1:56.
Mm.
And I realized that Shafika had to run a remarkably phenomenal race to win. So I wished her all the best, and I supported, and I really rooted for her.
No, and
But
for me,
I knew realistically that,
mm,
look, if she come forth, I'll be happy, because at least it means that she's consistent and she'll let nobody else beat you, because so far she has the fourth fastest time in all of the heats. And
no,
at
you see,
least she maintained that.
no, you see, for me, you and I talked, and you scientifically, well, using a scientific method, demonstrated to me that based on these stats, she cannot win. You understand? But you bet on her. And that was a demonstration of patriotism. You understand? A demonstration of love for country. A demonstration of support that was incredible. In my mind, I told you so. Because you scientifically explained to me, say, Richard, she can't win. Based on these stats, it is impossible. You're not a betting man. You don't gamble. You understand what I'm saying? But that is what I'm saying. Each and every one of us, and you showed it, did something. Even if it's just a word we said, go Shafika. Even if it's just that word. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just the word, but use our golden girl. Do you think? You understand what I'm saying? And we left our homes and went into Heritage Square. We went to Addisville. And let me tell you this, as I said, I'm a very emotional man when it comes to patriotism. When it comes to St. Vincent, there are two things I don't play with: my children and my country. You understand? They mean everything to me. My 4 children and my country. And I remember talking to Anthony Denny, my friend, our friend, and we said, well, the country was on the little weather system, I don't know if you remember that, That evening, the country was on the weather system. And Anthony Denny told me, whether or no whether I go in Addisville. You understand what I'm saying? I going Addisville to go watch this, whether or no whether. He could stay home and watch it, But we had to come together as a people. You see? and you're betting on that young woman, which you know you were going to lose. You've scientifically proved it to me. It was a demonstration of love for country. It was a demonstration of support and faith in that young woman. It was an incredible thing. So this was a moment in history for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A moment, as I say, what do we like? Listen, Britain is a country with about 60-something million people. Kenya and them is millions of people. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 110,000. And from 110,000, we found the jewel, which could compete on the highest stage. You understand? And be among the best. It was an incredible feat. It was.
Absolutely. Now, I went to NBC radio page because she gave an interview, not an interview, but some word of thanks, and she seems to be, from everything I've seen from her so far, she appears to be quite a humble young lady. I'm going to try to see if I can get her on the program. I don't know how that will work out, but I'm going to try and reach out to her. She's on Facebook, so I'm going to try and reach out to Shafika to see if I'm able to get her on, preferably on a Sunday afternoon like this as opposed to a Thursday night, but we'll see how that works out. That is, if we continue to do Sunday afternoons.
Yes. No, yeah,
and have a chat with her about her feet. You see what you're saying?
No, I as I said earlier at the beginning of this program, I am sure that this Sunday session will take off. It gives us a chance to talk to the people, and it gives them a chance to ask questions. And I just want to remind everybody, share the live, please. Tell people we are on. And if you're on looking at us, please show up so that we could say hello to you and welcome you and say thank you to you for being here. But I think the Sunday program, especially for things like that, where we can delve into a little bit of what was her struggle like, and what are her plans, and how she, because up to now we don't know exactly how she felt and whether she felt the energy of the people all the way in Paris. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you this that I stole off of the NBC Radio page, and
Okay.
so let me give the credit to NBC Radio and the props to NBC Radio. I just screen grabbed it, so I'm going to show that interview now, and hopefully you get a sense of how she was feeling and what she felt based on the love and support of given by the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Before I start, I just want to thank the Lord. All glory and praise to Him. Without Him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today or achieve any of the things that I achieved in the past couple of days. As you know, I went through a lot before the Olympic Games, and God carried me through it all. I may not have everything I wanted to be successful, but I had everything I needed in God, and I just want to thank Him for His love and His mercies and His grace upon me. To the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that video from Heritage Square melted my heart. I was filled with so much pride and happiness to just see y'all come out and support me, and it was greatly appreciated. I seen all the comments and everything on Facebook. I seen the good, bad, and the ugly. And to the people that's been going to bat for me, especially Max Walker, I see you out there, Max, and I appreciate you very much. I appreciate you very much. And everybody else that's been, just out there supporting me and going to bat for me. It means a lot, and I'm definitely excited going forward to continue to put the country on the map. But Paris was a great experience. I'm not gonna lie, leading up to Paris, I was just like, dang, I haven't ran as you know, I didn't run faster than 159. I personally knew that, I was a lot better than I was running there. I just didn't have an opportunity to run as fast as I wanted to going into Paris. So going in, I didn't have a race or workout to be you ready to go. You ready to go. And so when I stepped on that line for the heats, it was all God. I had to trust in God and trust in my coach and him telling me that I was ready. And then after the heats, everything just started to fall in place. I got more and more confidence as the rounds went by, and the rest was history. It was a great experience. me and Handel, we definitely kept each other, you know, in high spirits and just spend a lot of time together. Try not to focus too much on track, but, you know, still dial in on what we were there for. And shout out to Handel. That's my little brother. We definitely kept each other going up there. But the Olympic experience, it's definitely one to remember. I've still been trying to come to terms with all that I have accomplished. I know a lot of people did not expect what I did. I kind of knew I had it in me, but to see it all play out, you know, God is good. I've seen all the posts about making everyone in St. Vincent and the Grenadines proud, and I'm happy I can do that. I'm happy I was able to help put the country on the map, and now I'm sure a lot of people have been looking up St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And, you know, stuff like that is priceless. That kind of publicity is priceless. And I'm just happy that, you know, I have a nation that can be proud to say that they are from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I know going forward, next year I have world championships indoors and outdoors. And I hope I'll be in a position to continue to make the country proud.
You know, I'm looking forward to, hold on a second, how do I do this again? I'm looking forward to World Championship outdoors and indoors, and I don't know where I'd be for World Championship outdoors and indoors. All of a sudden, just everything just disappeared. Like I'm seeing, I don't know where everybody went to. I don't know if something happened that kicked people out or so on, but
No, I'm seeing
all of a
everybody.
sudden, hello.
I'm seeing everybody.
Okay. Um, so I'm not, but that's all right. So yeah, but she seems like a very humble young lady and determined and committed young lady. And so once she maintains that and maintains the work ethic and she continues to get the support that she now has proven that she deserves, and she's in, well, I don't like to use the word entitled to, but that the support is well placed and the investment is well, it brings good returns. I hope she would continue to put in that work, put in that effort, and grow from strength to strength. So congratulations to Shafika. As she said, she has done her part in broadening the knowledge of St. Vincent the Grenadines. Because, you know, everyone patriotic who plays their part in representing St. Vincent the Grenadines plays a role in putting St. Vincent the Grenadines on the map. Okay. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, you have disappeared. That's what it means.
I don't know if my camera is. Oh my lord!
You disappeared again.
I think my camera is. Hold on. I think what might have happened is my camera battery died, but it's plugged in.
Well, I don't know what is happening with you. But as whilst he is sorting himself out, if you have any questions for us, please drop it in the chat and we'll do our best to answer it. Good afternoon to Kojo Mason, Vincent Jasper, Josette Sargent Brown. Good afternoon to you. These are the names I could see on the list. So if I don't mention you, then just let us know you're there. Nerissa Fergus is there. Mr. Shane Daniel, the guy who used to send lens in his car to do bad things. Patricia D. Riggs. All right. Good afternoon to all of you. As I said, I'd be happy if you have a question. It doesn't have to be about the particular subject we are talking about. I'm always happy to be of service to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is an opportunity to talk to you all. And so if you do have a question or anything of that sort, let us know. Right.
Give me 1 second. Let me try and sort this out. I'm trying to. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to.
We don't know what you're trying to do.
Yes, yes, yes. Hold on, hold on. I don't understand why this is happening to me. No.
I couldn't help you. I don't know anything about technology, so I'm the last person in the world that you should ask about that. Okay. As he sorts that out,
Uh,
I will go and get
this is.
myself some water. My kitchen is
Uh,
just. Give me a second. Let me get some water. Okay.
uh, okay, so my problem is that my camera battery died, uh, and so now I'm going to have to switch to my. Oh, sorry about that, viewers. I apologize for that. So that's where we are now. Yes. Now, for the final segment of the program, as Richard stepped out, gone to get some water, and he'll come back, I'm sure, in a little bit. And I'm still trying to figure out what is going on here with what is going on. But anyway, that's crazy. If you are still there, please give me a thumbs up. If you're still there, if you're still online, give me a thumbs up. Give me a something. Give me a sign to let me know that you're still there, because I'm not seeing you. Right? If you're still there, just give me a thumbs up. Send a thumbs up. Do something so that I know you are still there. Right. Okay. All right. So if you're still there, give me something. Show me something. Show me a sign. Because the last thing I'm seeing is Kojo's message. So I don't know if you're not there and I'm seeing you, or if you're there and I'm not seeing you. But give me a sign.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
I'm seeing everybody who's here. I'm back. Um,
Right. Now, Richard, the final segment. So now, as I promised, as I said to the listeners, I promised that I'll try to get Shafika on. Let's see how that works out. Um, Now, the next thing I wanted to touch, because we talked about Bangladesh and we talked about the
mm,
protest in Bangladesh. Now, that was coming. That came after a wave of protests in countries like Kenya, you know, um,
mm-hmm,
other African countries that had similar uprisings and so forth.
mm-hmm.
Nigeria is having their own protests currently, but in the UK here,
Yes.
there has been a wave of protests in various cities.
Yes.
Manchester, up in Ireland. I think Leeds might have been affected as well. But the protests in these cities are of
Mm-hmm,
a different kind than the
mm-hmm,
protests that we've seen in Kenya, Nigeria, and Bangladesh, and other African countries. These protests are what British commentators are referring to or see as fascist and racist driven protests. Have you been following the protests, and
yes.
what are your thoughts? No. Just before you come in, I reached out
Mm-hmm,
to our good friend James Schneider,
yes.
but he already had something planned for this
Okay.
evening, and so couldn't be a part
Okay.
of the program. And so, but he promised me, listen, whenever you're ready, let me know. I'm there, because I wanted to chat with James about the new government. What are
Yeah.
some of the things we can expect from the new Starmer government here in the UK, and also to look at the riots that's happening
Mm.
in the UK. But what from what you've gleaned from following them, Richard, What's your assessment of the riots in the UK so far?
Okay. Now, um, the symptom of the riots are different from those in Kenya or Bangladesh or any other place. Only the symptom, the disease is the same. I'll get to that. But yes, these riots have people call them protests. For me, they're riots, and in some cases, they are actually terrorism. Um, uh, if you look at the definition of terrorism from an international legal standpoint, it's basically trying to achieve a political end, okay, by using terrible, violent means. You understand? To terrorize the people. Now, when you try to burn down a hotel, you understand, with innocent people inside it, that is terrorism. You understand? So this thing that they are protests, this is nonsense. This is not true. They are riots, race riots, okay, and fascist riots. They're not protests. A protest is a different thing, okay? And some of those actions are actions of terrorism. That is what they are. Now, one of the reasons why I'm a person who's careful with religion and politics is because they always create the other. You understand? If you're Christian, everybody else who's not a Christian is the other. You understand what I'm saying? If you're ULP, everybody else who are not ULP is the other. So it always creates the other. Okay? And there are people who would use that other, you understand, for their own purposes. Now, the people, the people who are involved in this riot, okay, and this disorder and this terrorism that is happening in Britain, those are poor people. Check out what they have looted. They go to stores and even take a piece of meat, take some pizza. You understand what I'm saying? They're desperately poor people who see no hope. And the system is designed to let them believe that it is the other that is causing this. It is the other why their situation is like that. But their situation is exactly that of Bangladesh. And it's exactly that of Kenya. And it's exactly that of Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? High taxes, you understand? You see, you have an education from a university and you have nowhere, you have no job. You understand what I'm saying? Check out the people who are rioting in England. Check it carefully, CNN, and you would see, right? The disease is their economic desperation. The economy has shut them out. You understand? They have no real hope, even if they have an education. They have no real hope. But guess what capitalism does? And guess what these people do? You have people like the neo-fascists who then tell these people, look, it is you, the foreigner. It is the foreigner that is causing this. You get them out and everything will be fine. You understand? It is the same very situation. Now, listen. I was in Paris a few years ago, right? And I was on a train, and there were some people, French people, and they were talking. Well, I was in a first class train, okay? So for them, whatever. Anyway, with my bags and things like that. So they turned to me and they began to talk and I said, no, I'm not French. I speak French, but I'm not French. I'm actually going back to Germany where I work and so on. And the discussion went on. And I asked them, I said, how do you feel about all of these Black people in your country? Because I was listening to your conversation. And one of them said, oh, well, don't get this wrong, but you're not like them. You are, diplomat. I said, what do Black people do in your country? I said, I've been to France many times. What I see them doing is cleaning garbage. They're taking up garbage off the street for you and so on and so on. Are you willing to do that job? They became quiet. I said, no, please answer me. Are you willing to do that job? What job are they taking from you? What power do they have in your country? Do they decide how much taxes? Do they decide how much taxes you pay? Do they decide how much VAT you pay? Can they hire you? Do they decide that no, you cannot have a job in the hospital as a nurse? What power do these people have in your country? All they do is take up your garbage. And if they want to wrong, you'll be swimming in filth. I say, let's take Spain. And you have all of these people. What do? They work in fields picking tomatoes and they sleep in the cold on the tents. What power do they have in your country? How do they deny you an opportunity? Please explain this to me. I say, let's take America. Trump, at the time, Trump was in power. You understand? I said, Trump is saying they're going to build a wall and so on. Tell me how the Mexicans are denying white people in America a job. You see, the situation in England is exactly that of Nigeria. Is exactly that of Bangladesh. But these are all Bangladeshis. You understand? These are all Nigerians. So there is no foreigner to blame. You understand what I'm saying? There is no foreigner they could point their hand to and say, because these people are here, this is why this is happening. And so therefore, what do? They figure out that it is the system, it is the politics, and it's the corporate that is running this country, and we must tackle them. You understand? In England now, okay, you have people like me and you. You have Bangladeshis. You have Pakis, as they call them, and Indians and so on. You understand? And instead of the people understanding, look, this has nothing to do with these people. What power do they have? You are studying in England as we speak now. Have you seen Marshall decided who should get a job in a hospital? Have you decided who should be, how much taxes the people should pay? But do you know if you were in Manchester, one of those places, you would have been attacked? Do you know that?
Yes.
Do you know that you have gone to England and spent your money? You're paying them. You understand what I'm saying?
Lots of money.
You're bringing money into England. You understand? But you would have been attacked. You understand? Because you are the other. You understand? There's no difference. There's no difference between Bangladesh, Nigeria, Kenya as regards the disease itself. The symptom, how it shows, is a different thing altogether. Let us be clear here. Let us be absolutely clear. You might say to me that, okay, Richard, you're not speaking the whole truth. Because the truth is that the British government have to pay some money to put up these people and feed them while they're here. Oh, that is true. But let me ask you a question. Who joined America in bombing Iraq? Who joins America in encouraging and supporting
all those places
in Gaza? Who joined America in bombing Afghanistan and those places? Right? And what does that create? That creates something called what? Refugees. You understand? People who had proper homes, decent homes. Let's take Libya. Let's take Libya, for God's sake. Let's take Libya. Okay? Colonel Gaddafi, regardless of what you want to say about him, that was one of the best run countries in the world as regards people well-being. You understand what I'm saying? You're health free, water free, all kind of thing free. Libya now is what? A failed state. And people have to survive. So if they come to England and to America, which has destroyed that country, who's supposed to pay for them? You are supposed to pay. Because it's you. It is you who has done this. It is you. Now, look, Keir Starmer, who's the new Prime Minister of Britain. And when you talk about change of government, there's only a change of faces. There's no change of policy.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. There's only a change of faces. Keir Starmer, guess what? You know who's his foreign minister? I don't have to tell you. What was his first visit? Where's the first place he visited?
Israel.
Israel that is committing, you understand, a genocide in Gaza. So when some Palestinians appear on the shores of Britain, isn't it Britain's responsibility to pay for them? Isn't it Britain's responsibility to feed them? Because it's Britain who's paying for this. It's Britain who's paying for their genocide. America and Britain can stop this genocide today. No, this very second. Let us be clear here. Let us be very, very clear. But you see, when Keir Starmer decides to give Israel X amount of billion, But at the same time, you know it. I don't have to tell you because you live in England. What he has done, he has decided that the subsidy that they used to give to old people to buy the oil, the heating oil, he's going to take it away. You understand what I'm saying? So he doesn't have any money. He does not have any money to give to the poor people, the poor old people who have served England so well for 60, 70 years. You understand what I'm saying? He takes away their oil subsidiary money, but he gives billions to Israel to conduct genocide. When America cannot clean up the water in Flint so that black people could drink some proper water. You understand what I'm saying? They can't clean up the water in Flint, which is only going to cost them $2-3 million. But they're giving $62 billion to Ukraine to fight a proxy war. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? So the problem is the same. They're denying their people opportunities. Young people in England, even with their education, are not sure of anything. And so they're desperate. And when their desperation hit home, you check it. Don't believe me, CN. Please check it. All the looting that they loot, you think it's TV and thing the thief in?
It's food.
It's food. They're breaking place for thief food in England, CN. You hear me? That's the reality of the situation. So the disease is exactly the same. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it's England, Bangladesh, or Nigeria. You understand? The difference is everybody in Nigeria black. You can't tell who's who. All we the same. You understand what I'm saying? In England, you could point to CN. He is the other. He is the foreigner. And it's he who causing you to be in this situation. When the truth is, CN is paying rent. You understand what I'm saying? CN is buying food. CN is paying for his school fee, everything. And all that come from a little place called what? St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Absolutely.
As we see in the community to pay for all of this. But if CN had made the mistake and was in Manchester, you know what would have happened to CN? He would have been attacked. So let's just get this thing very, very, very clear. You understand? It is the same thing. And these young people, these young men and hooligans are denied opportunities. Okay? And they have to take it out on somebody. And so they take it out on the other, the one who doesn't look like them.
No, that's you look at what is happening, and that's quite an accurate summation of what has been happening, because you listen to the discussion, and there's this talk about people taking jobs. And I guess in the UK, because of the shortages that exists here in the medical field, in the NHS, nurses and doctors and so on, because people are not going into those fields, and Vincentians who work for EC dollars view it more profitable to come to the UK and work for pounds, so that even if you send over 500 pounds, it's 5 by 3.5, 4, so it represents a good saving and so on. But the truth is that those individuals come here and make extreme sacrifices that those who are living here and are from here don't make. Because to be able to send home that 500 or 600 pounds every month means that many of those quote unquote immigrants, professionals who are here, whether it's in the army or in the nursing field or what have you, are going without, or are living a quality of life that may not even be on par with what existed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and where they're from, so as to be able to save. And yes, they're able to save. They can go back home and they have a few pennies in the bank and so forth, and they can build their house and they could take care of their families. Fantastic. But they are coming here to fill gaps that exist. They're not taking anybody's jobs. It is because there was no one for the jobs while they are here.
Well, the fact remains this. If you look, let's just take the Windrush generation, for example, right? Let's just take them, for example. The history will prove a very simple thing, that the migrants, the immigrants to England, right, came there and took jobs that the British would not do. did not want to do, and will never do. It is the scenario which I told you about in France. When I told
Yes.
this French woman, and she had to accept it, I say, you'll be swimming in your filth if these black people wasn't here to clean it up for you, and you know it. Those are the facts. Now, let us make a fundamental distinction here. There are black people like you and me who visit England as tourists, or we go there as students, or we go there as new immigrants, okay? But there are black people who have lived there for generations. They are born British people.
Yes.
Look, the man who put Britain into the who get Britain out of the first round, you know, and to go on in this European Cup is a black man, you know. Without these black people, British football team couldn't get to the finals, and everybody know it. Everybody know it. We all know it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the point I'm trying to make is this: that these people are British people, and their foreparents and they themselves have contributed to Britain. You understand? They are British people. By law, they are British people. And therefore, if they're British people, they should have all the same rights. But even they too would have been attacked because they are the other. Because the system, you understand, says to them, it is these people's fault why you are where you're at, which has nothing to do with the truth. Now let's deal with the people, the new immigrants, the Vincentian teachers, the nurses, and so on. Do you remember when Ralph Gonsalves came to power? Where did we have to go for nurses? Do you remember?
Cuba.
You understand? We went to Cuba. Did the Cubans come and take jobs that we wanted, could have filled, but somehow Ralph give it to the Cubans? No, that is not what happened. There were jobs there. There were spaces there to be filled. You understand? And we didn't have the qualified people and so on. So we had to get the Cubans. Now, guess what has happened now? We are now exporting the same nurses. The Cubans are all returned home. You don't need them anymore. You understand? We did not go to England. Listen to me carefully. We did not go to England and demand jobs. They came home and recruited our nurses.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
came home and recruited our military personnel who were serving in the army. They came home and recruited our teachers. They came and recruited us. You understand? Because nobody in England either didn't want to do it, you understand, or couldn't do it. So let us be clear about those things. Let's be very, very clear.
Because even recently, when the former prime minister talked about bringing back national service for army, there's a big outcry. Nobody did
Yes.
your people ain't want to go into the army.
No, we ain't doing
They
that.
don't want to go to the army.
No,
You're absolutely right. And so this thing where they're trying to scapegoat because, as you said, the system has failed them is really what is creating such a situation. Now, I'm going to ask you to do one thing, Richard, because we're coming into the end of the program. We have 4 minutes left. I'm going to give you 1 second to go and put a drink in a glass, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to do it as well. So 1 second, put something in a glass, and I'm going to tell you why we're doing this, right? In a few seconds, right? Make sure you have something, right? This is real. That's Sunday evening line, boy. That's Sunday evening line, right? Because we're coming to the end of the program, and I want to thank you so much for joining, Richard, for staying up early with me this evening. And I want to thank everybody who logged on to the program. Now, earlier we said happy belated birthday to Dr. Gonsalves.
Yes.
Right. Well, our brother, Bling, also celebrated his birthday.
Oh my God.
And so
yes.
This drink, it's a Bling.
It's a Bling.
This is
But I didn't see him on the program tonight, but Bling, I'm sure you would watch it sometime.
Well, the thing about it that again. I ain't seen anybody. I ain't seen nothing. I seen zero on my screen.
Everything here is also still on my side because I'm sure other people have commented, but I can't see it.
Right. So
So I'm sure
Bling,
something, but you and I have a
something
very
happened.
good. Everything here is clear with on my side. Everything. But
Okay, so
I can assure you that nobody something is wrong with your chat because I don't know. You know,
so
I
we
don't
taking
know
a
what
drink
is
for Bling?
happening.
We're taking a sip for
Yes,
Bling? Let's take a sip.
to
Bling,
Bling.
more life
Bling, this
and
is
all
for
the
you.
best to you.
I'm seeing, depending on your situation, I would like to make a suggestion here that next Sunday we could have this program again and look into several teams, but one of them would be the American elections and what is happening there.
Well, I wanted to touch a little bit on that, but we didn't, and we can't because we
Yeah,
have
the
2 minutes
time
left,
the time didn't allow us.
right? Because I wanted to look at that in the context of policy, because one of the things that you said is change of face, but not change of policy.
Yes,
Policy regarding the Caribbean, and most importantly, in the context of global affairs, policy in relation to Russia. Now,
precisely,
it's in
precisely.
Gaza. Now, mind you, Kamala was one of the persons who said we need a ceasefire now as vice president. But what does that mean? And if she becomes president, what would that translate to? But again, if we do next week's program, next week Sunday, definitely we would. One of the things we would definitely lead off with is the U.S.
Yes,
election, and hopefully today was just a trial, but we could book guests for next week's program
yeah,
that we could have other
that-
people
yes.
chatting with us.
One other thing is that probably everybody don't remember who James Snyder is, but James Snyder was press secretary to Corbyn, Jeremy Corbyn, the former leader of the Labour Party, and so I think Cian, in the realm of politics, the second suggestion I'll make is that next week as well, if we have it, we discuss the change in Britain, the elections, and if James is around, he will then also share his view. But I have some views on that, and I think it's an important discussion that needs to take place as regards Britain and where that can lead to,
Well,
because
I'll find out from James if he can be on with us next week Sunday, and if he can
yeah,
be, then we'll definitely book him. And it will also be good to get some perspective on the U.S. elections.
yes,
So I'll see if I could touch base with any of my colleagues, former colleagues
and,
in the
right.
U.S. who can give
And,
perspective on that as well.
right. And lastly, as regards politics, so you have 3 political teams for next week, if you do it, is what happened in Venezuela and the United States
And
and Western imperialism response to the same.
no
So I
problem.
think those 3, I think because there are 3 hot button issues as we speak, So those 3 political issues can be discussed. I think it should make for a fantastic program. I think you have a great American audience, and they would be interested in. They might lambast me after it, but I think they would be interested in hearing the views as regards Kamala Harris. So,
I wish her well. I wish her very well, but this could be interesting. This could be
yes,
interesting.
it will be, because I can't say the same. I can't say the same, so yeah.
Yeah, I wish her well. Well, Richard, as always, let me thank you so much for doing this with us this evening, this afternoon, same as time. By the way, cricket playing, and West Indies seems like they're going to make a stand because they were 1 run for 1 wicket after South Africa declared. Now I believe South Africa is making the mistake that what?
West Indies now 10 for 10.
I thought the last was tomorrow. The match draw.
Oh, I think you're going to tell me that's a good thing. Congratulations,
No,
West Indies. I know me
match
don't like
draw.
cricket at all. I can't back losers. But outside of that, you mentioned cricket, but also what is happening in St. Vincent right now is Junior Panorama and King and Queen of the Bands. Because today is World Steel Band Day.
When did the match start? It's Wednesday?
Me, I don't follow West Indies cricket, brother man. I don't follow losers. I don't.
I'm sure the match started on Wednesday.
See, and I don't follow losers. I definitely don't follow losers. I don't. Okay? I don't follow losers.
But my word. Narissa, help me out here. I sure today was day 4 of a 5-day match?
Boss, the match
Or
jar,
did
you
the
should
match
be
start
happy.
Tuesday?
Anyhow, West Indies jar, any match, you supposed to be happy. We can't
Man,
have it.
no.
Boss man, if the match jar, be happy. Be happy, boss man. If the match jar, be happy. That's all I could tell you. Be happy if the match jar.
It's started Tuesday. I listen to me. And that goes back to the fact that I don't even know what the days are. Anyway. Anyway, Richard, again,
Yes.
let me thank you so much for being a part of this evening's program. Really appreciate it. All those of you who logged on and who stayed on for the 2 hours to be a part of this. Listen, give me a comment. Go on the page of Uplift with Cian Marshall. Comment. Let me know, even under this program, that you enjoy the program, that you'd like to see more of it. And this is something that we can work towards doing as well. That means 2 days now. But then it means, Richard, we have to come up with a new name for this one because it can't be Uplift with Cian Marshall because it's Sunday afternoon. Right. So we got to come up with a new name. We'll use the same Uplift page, but I guess we have 2 programs. We have Uplift on a Thursday night and we have something else on a Sunday. So let's see how that works out. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and just one last word. I think you could come with something, quite unusual. All right. I could make some suggestions, but I think something like in the mix.
Let me name it on the air. We good. Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? Maybe
You know what? But
you know what? No,
come with something
actually,
nice.
Richard, actually, let's do that. Let's do exactly that. Let's ask the viewers to give us a
What
name
it
for the
should be
Sunday
called.
program.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
Let viewers, you help us come up with a name for the Sunday afternoon program. Give us a name for the Sunday afternoon program, and of all the names, we would put it out there, and one of those names may very well be the name that we would use. All right, so that's a challenge for those who are always involved. We're thinking of making this a regular program every Sunday at 4 o'clock. And what would be a name that you know, give us some suggestions of names that we can run with.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Something like
Okay.
in the mix with Cian Marshall sounds nice to me.
Well, the thing, that's the thing. It do, the truth is, Richard.
No, I'm starting the ball rolling. I'm just starting the ball rolling. That's
but
all.
Here's the thing, right? But here's the thing. It do have to have my name in it.
In the mix with Cian Marshall.
It does not have my name in it.
But in the mix with Cian Marshall.
You know,
That's
because
nice.
I already have Uplift with Cian Marshall. Yeah, it doesn't have to.
Because in the mix is everything. All right?
Yeah.
Blessings, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one. Take care.
Yeah. All right.
And to the rest of you, thank you again for being a part of this evening's program. Until next Sunday, when God's willing, we are back with you again. This is Cian Marshall and Richard saying, enjoy the rest of your Sunday.